It is a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Harry Singh all the way from London. It is 2 p.m. in the afternoon here. It's 10 p.m. in London, so if he falls asleep in the middle of the show, we know what happened. But after qualifying from Leeds Dental School in 1996, Dr. Harry Singh followed the traditional associate and principal routes in dentistry, opening 3 dental practices along the way. Amongst these was aesthetics, an award-winning private practice in Hertfordshire. Like most dentists, Harry was making good money. However, it left him working long hours and missing out on family time, hobbies, holidays, going to the gym, healthy eating. Even when Harry was away from the practice, he found himself thinking about patients' emergencies or complaints as well as staff issues. Feeling alone on a professional level and unhappy with his lifestyle, Harry sought to make a change. So, as well as practicing dentistry, he started to invest in property and stumbled upon some professional property secrets that helped him to develop his business interest. Over a 2-year period, Harry bought 27 properties and sold 6. The profits from these deals allowed him to buy into dental practices and set up 2 squat practices. The passive income that these properties brought in covered all of his financial commitments, enabled him to reduce his clinical dentistry hours, to spend more time with his family and on himself. Eventually, he found that he was making more money from property and practicing dentistry 2 days a week rather than full-time. Last year, he retired from dentistry to concentrate on the property side of his work. He now has a property portfolio valued at around £7 million, yielding a passive income of £8,000 per month. Understanding that many dentists feel as isolated and trapped as he did, Harry wants to give something back to his dental colleagues via the Dental Property Club, which is designed to share with members the information, expertise, and knowledge he has gathered along the way, and that is at www.dentalpropertyclub.co.uk. So, Harry, the question is, why didn't you just get rid of your family?
I mean, they tried to get rid of me first.
So, how old were you when you retired from dentistry?
38.
So, you got out of school at what age?
23.
So I took geometry, so that's 15. So after 15 so after 15 years of doing clinical dentistry, you decided just to do real estate.
Yeah, I think from early on, I knew I didn't have the passion for clinical dentistry. I enjoyed the business side more. So I knew from early on that I couldn't be a dentist, or I wouldn't stick at it for 40 to 50 years like my colleagues that were really passionate about it. So I looked at alternative income streams that could overtake my dental income.
So I'm assuming after missing the smell of gum disease and decay that you just didn't go into the other end and become a proctologist, but you picked real estate instead. Are you glad you did it, or was it kind of scary walking away from your profession?
No, because obviously what I did is, while I was still a dentist, that's when I started investing in property. A lot of people I see, they give up dentistry and invest in a new business, whether it's restaurants, property, without a backup plan. So I still had the dental income coming in and slowly reduced my commitment to dentistry. So I'll say, yeah, don't go straight ahead into it. Have alternative sources of income and then build it up gradually.
So you went to school for many years just to learn how to do dentistry.
Yeah.
How do you go to school? How do you learn real estate? I mean, did you have any formal training in real estate, or did you take real estate classes? Did you read a book? How did you learn this skill? Because I assume it wasn't taught in dental school.
I'm actually probably barred from speaking at dental schools on dental property because it's against their ethos, trying to get dentists away from dentistry. But yeah, I read one of your guys, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he talked about trading time for money. And the worst thing you can do is actually become a specialist. By becoming a specialist, you do earn more money, but you're reliant on your own work, and people come refer patients to you, and you're stuck in the rat race because no one else can do what you can do. And I found out early on it's better to be a general dentist, delegate other stuff so it's less reliant on yourself, so you're building a business that's not reliant on you.
Yeah, I mean, a dentist is just like pushing a lawnmower. You're just a very high-paid lawnmower. You're still a laborer who works with your hands.
That's it.
I mean, a welder works with their hands. A bricklayer works with their hands. I work with my hands. I mean, yet on Yesterday, I did root canal, bone and crown, pull 4 wisdom teeth, dozen fillings. We work with our hands.
Yeah, because you are trading time for money. Obviously, it's a higher rate compared to other people. So I realised that I don't want to get stuck in the rat race and have an alternative income that's more passive, that doesn't need me to be there all the time.
So then, how on your journey, how did you learn how to do this? I mean, it's one thing to talk about making money in real estate, but obviously you got to know what you're doing. How did you learn to know what you're doing?
Yeah, because you can make a lot of money in property real estate, but you can lose a lot of money as well. So I did go on courses, had mentors, and the funny thing was, obviously, when you get to network with other people at the course or workshop, they also always ask, "What do you do?" And when I said I was a dentist, they started laughing at, "Why are you here? You're rich. You don't need to be here."
But you learned from them anyway.
Yeah, I learned from them anyway there. So yeah, it's like any skill. Well, obviously, because with dentistry, you have to go to dental school. It's a legal requirement. With property, there's no legal requirement. In trains, you could go in and blindly and do it. But anything you want to be successful in, you need to learn from mentors. So I would either recommend people that are doing what you want to do, or people where you want to be in, say, 10, 15 years' time.
So that Richard Kiyosaki you talked about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I live in the same town in America as he does. I live in Phoenix. He's like same town. So what will my homies find when they go to dentalpropertyclub.co.uk?
So first of all, there's a free report, 10 secrets on successful property investing, because you learn more from people's mistakes, and these are all the mistakes I've made myself. So in terms of location, pick an area that's quite close to you, only deal with motivated sellers. So motivated sellers are people that have got a compelling reason to sell, because what we're trying to do is get bargain property deals, and you're not going to get them from Joe Bloggs who wants to sell at the maximum price. So we look for motivated sellers, so people got a compelling reason, repossession, for Americans, foreclosure, divorce, death problems, that they need to have a compelling reason to sell quickly.
Now, are you in the residential commercial real estate? I mean, are you in residential real estate or commercial?
Residential.
Residential.
Yeah.
And why did you like residential over commercial? Why did you pick one over the other?
I mean, residential, it's more advanced markets. There's a lot more players in terms of lending money, so it's easier to get a loan. You don't need to pay as high as deposit down for mortgage compared to commercial property. Also, with residential, the leverage you can use helps you with the cash flow. And also, there's a big market in terms of people that can't afford to buy and they need to rent.
Great answer. Hey, when my homies are trying to get your free report, one of the red star areas says GDC number. And you got, what does that mean for the dentist listening from here to China?
Okay, so GDC is the General Dental Council in the UK, so their registration number.
So what if they're not from the UK?
That's fine. They can just put any registration. Obviously, I take it the UK, USA dentists have a registration number, or
okay. So just put my number from the United States.
Yeah, they use your number, and then because what we want to just to make sure other people didn't access the report. Because the reason I deal with dentists, because I was a dentist, I know their pains, what their struggles are day to day, so I can relate to them more easily.
Yeah, yeah. And there's 2 million of them around the world. 2 million. Can you believe that? There's 2 million. How many are in the UK? 20,000?
Yeah, 16 to 18,000. Yeah.
Now, there's 20,000 in the UK. There's 211,000 in the United States. There's 150,000 in China. Brazil has the same number as China. They have 150,000, and they have 100 million less people in America. So yeah, there's a lot of dentists, man, because teeth are one of the most important parts of the body. You know what I mean? So they go to your website, and they download that free report. And what is this free report going to be?
Yeah, so just tips and tricks that I've learned over the last, say, 10, 15 years. So what I want to do is compress decades into days, because what I believe firmly is sloppy success is better than perfect theory. So we all procrastinate and we hold back, but with a little bit of information, they can see if property is right for them. and take the next step in terms of looking around that area. So I have a formula called PISS, and it's the 4 steps that I use for successful property investing. So the first is P for passive income. So that's income derived not from your own efforts. So basically, you can sit on the beach and the income's coming in. So that could be dividends from shares. My main weapon I prefer is property investing. So you can be anywhere in the world and the money's still going to be coming in. Then you've got I, which is investment income. Because passive income is good, but it's slow and boring. It's not going to make you financially free or let you quit dentistry if that's your reason. So you need to do investment income, is where you make a capital gain. That's where you buy and flip a few properties. So you buy them, do them up and sell them, so you get a capital gain. So that's the how to make the money, the passive income, investment income. But where most people struggle is how much money they keep. So they've got really high spending habits, not in tax efficient vehicles. So the 2 S's are savings and simplify. So savings stands for basically 6 jars I divide my money into before I spend a single penny. So the first jar is my essential jar. So 55% of my monthly income goes into my essential jar. So that essential jar will be covering my living expenses, mortgage payments, utility cost, transportation, etc. So in the Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley, he says, if your expenses are more than 55% of your monthly income, you're never going to become financially free. So that's 55% we divide into that jar. Then 5% is a charity jar, because obviously no matter how bad we think our life is, there's always other people worse off. So it's good to have some gratitude. So we work out 5% of our monthly income goes to charity. Then we have savings, 10%. So it could be savings for a holiday, a car, furniture. Then we have another 10% for investment. So your income can only grow to the extent you grow. So you need to go to personal development, whether it's property or shares or forex trading, learn about that skill. Then we've got 10% for enjoyment. There's no use having all that money if you're not having fun. So 10% you have to spend on fun stuff every month. So that's my jar system, and that's savings. And then the second S is simplified, where people have the money, but they waste a lot of money on impulse purchasing or instant gratification. So we have a couple of tricks to stop people wasting money. So the first thing is, we always pay anything you want to buy. I always recommend to pay by cash, because it hurts you more, because it's physical money you're handing over compared to typing in your PIN number or chip and PIN. Also, anything you buy, times it by 4. So let's say you want to go to Starbucks, buy a £4 cappuccino or $4 cappuccino. It's actually costing you $16 because you had to earn $8 to get $4 in your pocket. And also, if you didn't spend that $4, you could have doubled it by investing. And the other trick is be wary of something we call the contrast principle. That's where the value of money doesn't seem as much when you're buying a high ticket item. So let's say you're buying a sofa for $3,500 and you see a cheaper sofa down the road, maybe $3,490. Most people will say, I can't be bothered to go down the road or pay for the $3,500 sofa. It's only $10 more. But if they next day were buying a pair of shoes that were, say, $20, and they found out down the road the same shoes were for $10, most people would go down the road and pay for the $10 shoes. But the difference in both cases is $10. So whereas a high ticket item, $10 doesn't seem as valuable compared to a low ticket item. So that's the 4-step formula: passive income, investment income, savings, and simplify.
So you have a book on Amazon.com, Get Moving in Property for Freedom and Profits, Learn How to Invest in the Asset of the Rich, and Master the Rules of the Professional Property Game. Tell us about that book. What made you write that book?
Yeah, because it's like teaching or writing stuff. You actually learn the subject more because it's on show to the public, so you're being accountable. So, and it was basically all my years of knowledge. I just put everything together. So, because some people, because I'm based in the UK, as you said, there's so many dentists worldwide, not all of them can come and see me in the UK. So I go, okay, let's give them some information that's easy, accessible. So the book came from that idea. So the book is more detailed in terms of how to find deals in your local area, how to finance them, what kind of strategy you're going to use. Are you going to buy and hold it to rent out? Are you going to buy and flip it? Are you going to rent room by room? And then how to finance the deals in terms of, do you use your own money? Do you use mortgages, bridging finance, etc.?
So, what do you think is the difference between rich versus wealthy?
Yeah. So rich and wealthy, they can both have the same lifestyle. So they may have fancy holidays 4 times a year, the car, the house. With the rich person, he's paying for his lifestyle from his own pocket. So he has to keep on working. So maybe a dentist, doctor, lawyer, pharmacist. So they have the lifestyle, but they got to keep on working. If they stop working, they can't maintain their lifestyle. The wealthy person can have exactly the same lifestyle, but it doesn't come from their own efforts. So they have assets, property, shares that pay for their lifestyle. So if they stop working, they can still maintain their lifestyle.
And what would you? A lot of these kids. I want to ask you a philosophical question first. A lot of just a month ago, 6,000 American kids just graduated from one of the 56 dental schools. They're averaging $350,000 in debt. What would that be in pounds? What's the pound of the dollar?
Probably, yeah, £1 is probably about 1.3, 1.4.
So it's about the same. Close.
Yeah.
So they're and a lot of them are asking this. They're saying, "Do you think I made a bad decision to come out of school $350,000 in debt?" They're 25 years old. They're $350,000 in debt, and podcasting is under 30 behavior. So I'm going to be 54 this month. There's not a lot of grandpas with a 4-year-old granddaughter like me listening to podcasts. So you're talking to mostly 30 and under dentists in 147 countries. So they're probably saying 2 questions. Do you think it was a bad idea to graduate from dental school last month with $350,000 in student loans? And number 2, how can I get into what you're talking about? Because could I even qualify? Should I even get more debt to buy a residential house and get into real estate when I'm already $350,000 in debt? What would you say to all that?
Okay, so the first question is, no, it wasn't the wrong move, because if you've got a true passion for dentistry, it's a vocation, it's not a job so it's something you do because you believe in it. So the amount of joy you're going to create for hundreds, thousands of patients will overwhelm that. Obviously, salary is going to be higher compared to the national average, so you will be able to pay that debt down. And obviously, I don't know over the pond, but obviously there's enough work in the UK for all the dentists that qualify, probably a shortage of dentists. So, and you are still respected, one of the few professions that are still respected by the public. Second question is, yeah, obviously there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. So bad debt is debt that you have to pay yourself, that comes out your own pocket, and it's on a depreciating asset. So car loans, credit cards, personal loans, I would say you want to clear bad debt as quick as possible. Good debt, which is what mortgages on rented properties are, is debt that's serviced by someone else. You're not paying that debt off, the tenant is. So what you want to do, and Robert Kiyosaki says in his book, is you want to get as much good debt as possible and reduce your bad debt as quick as possible. So obviously they may not be able to qualify for mortgages, but a lot of my work, I work with joint venture partners. So a joint venture is someone that has got the opposite skill to you. So there's 2 skills you're going to need, cash and time. So you could be cash rich and time poor. So you could be a mature dentist that's got a lot of money, owns their own practice, their business, but they love dentistry. They've got no time to invest in property. They've got money sitting in the bank earning no interest. So they can partner in someone that is cash poor, time rich. So that could be your younger dentists that haven't got the money, but they've got the time to look for property deals. So you partner up, they finance the deal, you look for the deals, and then you profit share.
So a lot of people think that you should be diversified and have some cash, some stocks, some bonds, some real estate. Do you think the average dentist is diversified with cash, stocks, bonds, and real estate. Would you say that you're less diversified in more real estate? What do you think about diversification?
The only people that I heard believe in diversification is independent financial advisors, because they make more money the more stuff you buy there. So it's a bit like dentistry. You can either become a generalist, so know a little bit about everything, but the ones that make the most money are the specialists, because they know that asset or that particular part of dentistry inside out, and they're the best at it. So with property, I am obviously biased, but I don't have any shares, stocks. With property, you can do a lot of stuff. You can play the long-term game, buy and hold. You can play the short-term game, buy and flip. So there's many variations of strategies you can use with property. So I don't diversify because I'd rather be a specialist. I know property inside out. If I was to go into stocks and shares, it'd be a learning curve for me, and it would take 2 to 3 years for me to get to a level where I'm making constant money. So do I want to waste 2-3 years learning a new skill, or those 2 and 3 years reinforcing the skill I already have?
That was good. It's so true. All the investment people always want you to be totally diversified. Yet the planet has 1,810 billionaires, and almost every one of them has all their money in their one company.
Yeah.
You know, whatever they founded. And I know I should not say this on a podcast, but all the years I made the most money in the stock market, I was holding one stock.
Okay.
And I mean, people would say to me, "Well, what else do you own?" I said, "I only own this." and then they'd say, "Well, that's stupid." And I'm like, "Well, I know another billionaire who has all of his money in this one stock. Why, you think you would never say he's an idiot, but I'm an idiot having all my money in one billionaire's company." You also talk about, I want you to explain, you talk about the mindset of the wealthy. How does the wealthy have a different mindset than other people?
Because obviously I've been to a lot of personal development courses, networked with a lot of millionaires, billionaires, and what I found was they had 4, it was all to do with the mindset, because the bigger the why, the easier the how. And what I found was 4 habits they practice on a daily basis. The first one was to watch and observe successful people. So studies have shown that your income and net worth is within 10% of the 5 to 6 people you hang around the most. So what you want to do... Say that
again. Watch and observe successful people, but what do you say the average of the 5 or...
So what happens, your income and net worth is within 10% of the 5 to 6 people you hang around the most. So
let me stop and tell my son, make sure he heard that. Did you hear that? You should hang around with your dad more. He says that your income will be within 10% of the 5 to 6 people you spend the most time with. So you should spend most of your time with your dad, Ryan. Ryan, spend more time with your dad. Okay, continue. Ryan, write that down.
Because what you want to do is you want to be either the poorest in your group or the least intelligent. Because if you're the wealthiest in your group, you'll drag yourself down to the other people's level. If you're the least intelligent, if you're the most intelligent, you'll drag it down. If you're the least intelligent, you don't want to look stupid, you'll up your game. And same again, if you're the poorest person in that group, you'll up your game. Because I remember went on holiday a couple of years ago, played pool. I'm very competitive. First I played with my kids, missed a few shots, got a bit angry. Then I played against my wife. I want to make sure I potted every ball, made her cry, make her swing. So are you playing with kids or are you playing with adults? Yeah. And what I have, the acronym is M&Ms, mastermind and modeling. You want to model people that have either done what you want to do or there where you want to be. And mastermind, so what you want to do, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about a mastermind group. And you can do it with dentistry as well. Hang around your peers, your mentors, you'll pick up loads of stuff. As I always say, you can compress decades into days. So that's the first part, watch and observe successful people. The second part is the opposite to that, avoid negative people. So these are negative people that have a problem for every solution. One of my mentors says, some people are so negative that when they enter a dark room, they start developing.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
Yeah. And sometimes they're your closest family and friends that put you off. Yeah. Now I call them BMWs. Bitchers, moaners, and whingers. Yeah. So, as I
Bitches,
said,
bitches, moaners, and winches.
Whingers.
Win.
Whingers?
How do you,
Whingers.
what? How do you
W
spell winges?
Whingers.
That might be a British term. I never heard that in America. Have you heard that, whingers? I've
People
heard
just
of.
moan and whine.
Well, it's a wine. Oh, it's a whiner.
Yeah.
It's a
We call them
whiner.
whingers. Yeah. So
Okay,
we call them.
In America, we'd say bitches, moaners, whiners, or wenches.
And so what I do normally during my workshops, I get the audience to take out their mobile phone and I say, delete one negative person from your contact list. So I said, watch, observe successful people, avoid negative people. The third one is become an avid reader. So rich people have big libraries, poor people have big TVs. So on average, I read at least half an hour every night on personal development, property investing, etc. And then the fourth successful habit and mindset related is, I mentioned it before, sloppy success is better than perfect theory. As dentists, we have to be perfectionists at our jobs because obviously we can't make a mistake. But that puts us off in terms of progressing, because what we are after is not perfection, but progress. Because if you start, you're running laps around other people that just staying in bed or watching TV all night.
What did you say? Sloppy success is better than perfect what?
Theory. Because you may go to all, we call them course junkies, so people that go to all the courses, workshops, but put nothing into action.
So sloppy success is better than perfect theory, and explain that more.
Yeah, it's just basically making a start. So let's say you're going to work and you get into your car on the forecourt. No one ever says, I'm not leaving the forecourt unless all the traffic lights are green. You start your journey, you run through obstacles, you may need to stop. But people do that in real life. They say, I want everything to be perfect. It's not the right time to invest in property. I haven't got the money. I haven't got the contacts. And they put it off year by year. So make a start, no matter how small it is, because it's better than someone who knows 100% theory but is doing nothing with it.
I love what you said about vocation versus occupation, because I think one of the reasons I think so differently about dentistry is the way my mom and dad raised me. My two older sisters, they left high school and went straight into the Catholic nunnery and became Catholic nuns. My oldest sister, Mary Kay, is now Sister Anna Yahweh for 40 years. And I always saw dentistry as a vocation. I mean, I loved to get people out of pain. I love to fix teeth. But if you have a passion, dentistry is a vocation. It still might be a good idea to diversify into real estate. I mean, it is one of the largest purchases that any individual ever make is their home. But again, The question is, if they just walked out of school, you're talk right now to a 25-year-old. She just got out of school. She's $750,000 in debt. Should she pay that down, or should she pay that off before she starts listening to you and learning real estate, or is this something she can start doing now? Or talk to her for a minute.
Yeah, it depends on what interest they're being charged on their loan. Is this a grant loan, or is it a bank loan? What would be a typical interest rate being charged on this loan? Was it a credit card loan?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm not sure what their interest rate is. That's a great question. I should know the answer to that, and I just don't.
No. So yeah, it depends, because if say you gave me £10, and every time you gave me £10, I gave you £20, you'll keep on giving me £10, and that's what a property can do. But it also depends on what their rate is. So on average, obviously it'd probably be different in the States in terms of yield. You would get about 8 to 10% yield on your money. So if your loan payments or loan interest is less than 10%, don't pay off the bad debt. Put it into real estate, because it's like you paying £5 into your debt and getting only £4 back. And if you put that £5 in real estate and you get £10 back, you wouldn't give £5. You wouldn't give any $5 or dollars to the loan interest. So it all depends on what interest they're being charged on their loan. If it's lower than what they would get, if the interest rate is lower than what they would get investing in property, real estate, then do real estate. If it's higher, which could be a credit card, could be 20-25%, then I would say pay off the debt first. So you have to take the emotion out of it and just look at the figures and the interest rates and see which one's better.
So, 81% of the people you're talking to right now are in the United States, and 19% are in 145 countries. And I imagine everybody around the world's wondering, who's not in London, what's dentistry like in the UK? You were in it 15 years. So, what my question to you is, 15 years ago, we used to hear when I got out of school in 87 that UK had about 20,000 dentists, and almost all of them worked for the NHS. Now we hear 30 years later that about 5,000 of the 20,000 left the NHS and said, I'm not going to do a low fee, high volume practice, and I'm going to do a lower volume, higher fee. Is that about right, or how would you describe the dental economy of the UK?
Yeah, so you're probably right. Around 5,000 are solely private practitioners, so they only do private work. The vast majority, so you got the other 15,000, I'll say probably 14,000 are mixed. So they do a mixture of, and mainly still majority NHS, but a little bit of private on the side. And then quite a few, low number, 1,000 to 2,000 probably are purely NHS. So yeah, the NHS system is something that was the government introduced, and the BDA, British Dental Association, agreed with it, but it's not what the dentists wanted. So it's something called a UDA, Unit of Dental Activity. So basically there's only 3 bands that the patient can pay, and the trouble is, so let's say band 1 is examination, scale and polish, band 2 is fillings, but it makes no difference between the patient that needs 1 filling and 15 fillings. The dentist gets paid the same. And then band 3 is lab-based items, crowns. So same again, there's no difference between a patient needing 1 crown and 20 crowns. The dentist will still get paid the same amount. There, so it's a flaw.
How does that work? Is that kind of crazy?
Yeah, so obviously most dentists are ethical, so they'll do it, and it swings and roundabouts. So some patients, they'll lose money, some patients, they'll make money. Obviously, a lot of NHS dentists won't take on new NHS patients because new NHS patients have the biggest demand for treatment, and they're stuck with their patient needing maybe 7 fillings, 8 crowns, and they're going to get paid maximum band fee, 1 fee. Unfortunately, there are some dentists are unethical, and we call it NHS gaming, where they'll do, a patient may need 10 fillings, they'll do 2 or 3 fillings, close that course of treatment, and get the patient to come back in 6 months' time and start a new course of treatment, so get another band payment for that second course of treatment. Obviously, those are few and far between, but it does happen. But obviously, there's a big debate in the UK. Is it the dentists that are causing that, or is it the system making them do that?
So where's root canals come in? They told me in band 2?
Yeah.
And how much do you get for band 2?
Last time it was about 45, 50 pounds.
So you get 50 pounds for a root canal.
Plus, if they need other fillings as well.
Yeah, that's and it doesn't. Yeah, that's so it just doesn't work then, does it? Or
yeah, I don't know who thought of this system.
Is that one of the reasons that you decided to kind of get into real estate, or not really?
No, because I was already private when that system came into place. But I feel sorry for the dentists qualified. They're in a similar position to your graduates. Obviously, our debt is not as high. Still quite high. Their average debt is between £50,000 and £75,000, and obviously they can't go straight into private practice. They haven't got the experience, and also the private practice more employed them straight out of dental school. So the only system they have is the NHS, and with this band 1, 2, and 3, they're stuck doing it. So they work.
Who does the NHS cover? Is it all? What is the UK? About 60 million people?
Yeah, 60 million people. Everyone is entitled to NHS treatment.
All 60 million. Old, young.
60 million. Yeah, but some people don't have to pay the NHS charge. So obviously, pregnant, no job, they don't have to pay the NHS fees. The working population, they're entitled to NHS. but they have to pay the NHS fees, which are
So
quite low.
so if you're working, you're penalized, and if you can't find a job and you're lazy, you get subsidized.
That's it.
Oh, you gotta love government.
Yeah.
You're never supposed to talk about religion, sex, politics, or violence. So if I ask this question, you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But everybody around the world, every time you hear the UK, they're talking about Brexit.
Yes.
Can you do you want to talk about what it's like, because you're living in the country and everyone else is just reading little paragraphs in a newspaper? What is it like to be living through Brexit from a dentist point of view, living in London?
The first 2 weeks was quite stressful, traumatic. There was a lot more race hatred related crimes, in terms of people saying to, even I got it a couple of times, say, go back to your country, you don't belong here. But that's died down now, and I think what's happened, especially with the Olympics, with Great Britain doing so well, a lot of people thought actually we're better out of Brexit. So, but I just came back from Italy 2 weeks ago, and they weren't, they found out I was English, they said, "Oh God, you ruined the EU. You voted out. The EU is going to collapse." So I think they're using Britain as a scapegoat when the EU collapses, or when it does, or if it does. Yeah. But in terms of, it is a slow process. Nothing's going to happen for 2 to 3 years. But nothing's at the moment changed. It's obviously renegotiating with the contracts, etc. There's also all doom and gloom when the day after saying, "Oh, we're going to have a recession." So our Bank of England reduced interest rates a couple of weeks ago. So obviously they want to preempt that. In terms of property-wise, I think there probably will be a recession, because interest rates have been artificially low for too long, and the economy hasn't grown to what it's supposed to. So I do predict a recession either end of next year or beginning of 2018.
So, but when Britain joined the EU, they always kept the British pound, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like getting married but keeping your girlfriend on the side. I mean, they never dropped their currency like France did and Germany did, and so they never really were heart and soul in it.
Yeah, the only downside I've seen so far, our currency has dropped. So compared, because I was in New York last month and I getting some money, it was like such a low rate, and the euro, pound to euro and pound to dollar is so low. So we don't know if that's going to be a long-term effect. But
you're a smart guy. You're a doctor. You've been a dentist for 15 years, and I agree with you. Not only is dentistry a vocation, but it does garner a lot of respect. If you had to make a prediction with a crystal ball, do you think the EU will stay together 10, 20, 30 years from now, or do you think it's just fundamentally on a road to not working?
No, I don't think it'll exist in 10, 20 years time. There's only couple of countries, Germany, that hold it up, and obviously their population's going to get, their public's going to get annoyed because they're going to have to put more money into the pot. And obviously with the climate, with the terrorists, and obviously a lot of attacks in Germany, the German public can say, okay, why are we putting this money in? All these immigrants are coming in, causing us trouble. We're going to get vote out. So no, I can't see it. Probably even in 10 years' time, I can't see EU existing.
Yeah, there's so many red flags. You know, the United States, Washington, D.C. is very powerful and the states are weak. Whereas in the EU, each state is a sovereign country and Brussels is very weak and toothless. The other thing that was always a red flag to me is that when a really poor country that only had 10 million people like Greece was fundamentally sinking, the rich countries like Germany, I mean, like the United States, we have ran Kentucky and Mississippi and Alabama. That's our 3 Greases. They've ran at a loss every year since this country's been a country, and no one blinks at taking extra money from Connecticut and California and shuffling it down to Kentucky. It just is what it is. And the fact that they didn't see that with Greece, that, okay, we're just going to eat this, we're just going to pay it off, 10 million people, they need some help. But it was always they wanted their money back. It's like we're not a family. This isn't family. I mean, you would bail out your sister, you'd bail out your brother, you'd bail out your cousin, but they didn't see Greece as a sister or a brother or a cousin. It was just a business relationship.
It sounded good in theory, but in practice, it's all behind closed doors. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. With property, real estate, do your research. Make a start. Go to networking events, because I know, especially the Rich Dad, Poor Dad company. They run local networking events in each state where you can meet other investors. Obviously, they do. Obviously, be careful, because we have a saying in England that leave your wallet at home whenever you go to these networking events, because it's always a sales pitch at the end of it saying, buy our course for $3,000, it'll save your life or change your life. Yeah, so the information is good, and then obviously network, find a mentor, know your local area inside out, and then, yeah, as I said, work out the difference between good debt and bad debt. So those people that are coming out of university with, say, $350,000, what I did, I stayed at home with my parents, saved a lot of money on rent, led a simple life until I cleared all my debts, and then I could start investing. So you do have to make sacrifices. In life, you'll suffer two pains. One, the pain of discipline, or the pain of regret. So the pain of discipline is in the early days, is you won't be able to go out every night, you won't be able to go to the fancy restaurants, you won't be able to have your own pad. But then you're saving money, educating yourself, so when you're ready to invest, you won't have the pain of regret, because you won't be stuck in the rat race.
You know, that one of the when you're only born in your country, you just know that tribe. You really don't know. I've always thought the greatest education I gave myself was traveling around the world, and I didn't plan on that. I just became a dental lecturer, and the next thing you know, you're lecturing all, in 5 continents all the time. And I started taking my boys with me, but I've noticed one thing that it seems like 6 billion of people on the earth, the families live like a nuclear family. They all live together. And then in like the United States, Canada, Australia, and a lot of Europe, it's this, it's not like that. When the kids are 18, you kick them out or whatever. But traveling around the world as much as I have, I think the nuclear family, where the whole family lives together, I think it's more happy and functional and healthy. Like for instance, the United States, they have this 911. Have you heard of a 911 call?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you call and you get the 911. What's your emergency? Yeah. And the number one 911 call, almost 40% of all the 911 calls of every state have always been domestic violence. The husband or something beating the crap out of the wife, and she's calling the police for help. That would never happen in a nuclear family. I mean, your brother and your dad wouldn't stand there while you're pounding on your wife. And yeah. you were saying it was the two pains is discipline or regret. Living at home, so I'm talking to these young kids that come out with $350,000 student loans. If you're embarrassed to live with your mom and dad, you're not right in the head. And if you think it's a sign of success to live independently when you're paying for it on a credit card, let me tell you, when you go around the world, 6 billion out of 7 billion people, you live with your grandma, your grandpa, your aunts and uncles. And I've been in houses in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and in New Delhi, India, where there were 35 people living in a house, and all they did was laugh and giggle and have fun. And I looked at the little 2-year-old. I mean, maybe his dad's not paying attention to him because he's reading something on his iPhone, but his grandma's talking to him, his grandpa's talking to him, his uncle. The kid's just going from uncle to mom to dad. I think the nuclear family, I think if I was graduating with $350,000 in student loans and I had a chance to move back in with my parents, I would do that first.
Yeah, it's funny what you said, Howard, because I got laughed at my first year after I qualified, because everyone I knew my year lived at their own place. I was the only one that lived at home. And they kept on saying, you can afford to live out. I go, I can afford to, but I choose not to.
But did you see it as like discipline, or did you see it as like almost like an honor to be able to still live with your mom and dad?
Yeah, because of my culture is expected for you to come back after graduating, because you support the family, because obviously they've suffered and worked hard to put you through university, and they're proud for you to graduate. So it's like an unwritten rule. It's like payback time. So now you graduated, you're more successful than your parents, so now they don't need to work. You can pay some of their household bills, take the pressure off them.
Yeah, well, Americans, they always say they're number one. About the only thing Americans are number one in is self-esteem and confidence, because they're not number one in education. They're not number one in federal debt. They're not number one, and they're the most, there's a lot of things wrong with the United States. But I think one of the most wrong things in the United States is the abandonment of the nuclear family, kicking all the kids out of 18. The domestic violence in this country is off the charts. And if anyone wants to know who's harming the most Americans, it's not the government, it's not the policeman. It's usually your spouse. Do you know in America, if a woman is murdered, 9 times out of 10, it's by her own lover? When they call 911, take out heart attack, sick, car wreck, all that. The most violence of 911 is domestic violence, and that just doesn't happen. I mean, don't you think that happens much less in nuclear families?
Yeah, because they'll probably get beaten up themselves if they.
Yeah, your own brother and uncle would stop you. I mean, no one would let you stand there and pound on your wife.
It's a bit to hide. So, yeah, there are good and bad points. So it's hot. You can't really keep too many secrets. Then, yeah, obviously, if you're doing something bad, you'll be found out.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't care if it's an individual or a government. What is the biggest problem? Transparency. When governments are secretive, are they usually up to good things or bad things? And when you're in a family and you got a secret, is it usually about a good thing or a bad thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think all monkeys, all humans need transparency. I don't care if you're the government. I don't care if you're, living in a family. Secrets are usually secrets because you don't want everybody to know about it, and there's usually a lot of good reasons why you don't want anybody to know about it. So what did you say about the UK and the Olympics?
Yeah, because I think that had, well, apart from USA, which is number one in the Olympics. The Great Britain did, and it got, especially after Brexit, it was all doom and gloom, and then obviously they got happier after coming second in the medal table.
I have to say that the biggest, the most interesting thing to go into the UK is, in America, the number one sport is is NFL football, professional football. Number 2 sport is college football, and number 3 is NASCAR, and it's really fun. You don't really get into soccer until you go watch it in Europe. And I have to tell you that I don't care if you're in London or Paris, soccer fans are the most amazing fan. You'll never see anybody that fired up in the United States over professional football, college football, NASCAR. I mean, I love it. But man, the fans in London during a soccer game, they're batshit crazy. They got war paint all over their face. They're in the street. They're jumping up and down, yelling. You have the most motivated fans for that game in the world.
It's their life, and it's like our neighbours were selling their house because I'm a big Liverpool fan, and the neighbours were selling his house, and the guy that was going to buy it was a Manchester United fan, and he saw a Liverpool top in my back garden. He refused to buy the house because he didn't want to be living next to a Liverpool fan.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my God! Now is cricket? How big is cricket in the UK?
Yeah, because cricket is cricket. I say football always wins number one.
Yeah.
Cricket is probably 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, you know what I wish I could find is there really needs to be some informative video that you show foreigners before they come to your country about cricket, because when you watch a soccer game, you can get it, but when you watch a cricket game, you're not quite sure what you're watching.
The person that's in is out. The person that's out is in, and in out. Whatever. Yeah. It's very. But we were born with cricket, so.
When I watch cricket, I just resigned to drinking.
But that's a good thing because you can spend all day at the cricket match, and also you're allowed alcohol in the cricket grounds. With the football, you're not allowed alcohol because of the hooliganism and the past. But the good thing about cricket, you can drink all day.
Yeah. But I love London. I have to be honest with you. I'm from Phoenix, so I'm from the desert, so I don't really like London in February. But man, if you have a chance, if you go to London and you can miss the winter, and you can go there. What would you say, April to October?
Yeah, April to October. Obviously, it's hit and miss because the rain comes. We don't really have much of a summer.
What I love the most about London that's so cool. You go to Vietnam, they're all Vietnamese. You go to Japan, they're all Japanese. You go to Korea, they're all Korean. Even Poland is like 98% Polish. You go to London, every restaurant, every store, every person you meet is from a different corner of the globe. I mean, if you stay out late enough, you could damn near meet someone from every country on earth. It's got to be the coolest cosmopolitan country on earth. It is surely the world's melting pot.
Yeah. London is. You'll be lucky to meet an English person in London.
Yeah, and what's surprising is Canada is more melting pot than the United States. Go to Toronto, go to British Columbia, Columbia. What is it? British Columbia, Vancouver. That's Manhattan's very fun. But
Yeah.
hey, I want to tell you, I hope you log on to Dental Town and post some of this stuff. You should at least post about your book on there.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
have 50 forums, and one of them is finance, and there's personal finance, and I think you should um, post about your book on there, or all you know what? I'll post your book on there so it doesn't look like you're selling. I'll go under finance. I'll post your book, Get Moving in Property for Freedom and Profits, available at Amazon.com, and Achieving Financial Freedom. I'll post those two books on there, then I'll email you, Harry at dentalpropertyclub.co.uk. And
Yep.
if my homies have a question, can they email you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's no problem at all.
Okay, so it's Harry at dentalpropertyclub.co.uk. His website is dentalpropertyclub.co.uk. And Dr. Harry Singh, I can't believe you stayed up till 11 o'clock at night to be on my show, but I know all my homies appreciated you coming on today and sharing your wisdom on dentistry and real estate. And thank you very, very much.
No, thank you for the invitation, Howard.